So today we are playing Sub-Commanders on Siberian Plateau. Many of you guys are probably asking yourselves right now, what is Sub-Commanders? So Sub-Commanders is where you control a section of an army, such as cavalry, line infantry, or lights and artillery. So I'm going to be in control of line infantry. There's actually going to be two people in control of that. And then there's going to be a cavalry guy, which is just going to be in command of pure cavalry. And then we have the artillery and lights, which is also going to be in command of someone. So in total, it's going to be a 4v4. And we are the French, and we are going to be facing the British. So what's really cool about sub-commanders is that you have to really coordinate your attacks with your teammates. Just because you don't have all the elements of an army, so you have to really, work together and make sure you have the right troops at the right time to hopefully win yourself the game. So that is the goal here. And it is definitely a very interesting way of playing this game, and it just makes the game a lot more realistic. Just taking a look at the map, you see the formation flows much more smoothly, and there's no big gaps in any of the sections of the map, which is also really cool. Now, an interesting thing about this map is there is a lot of forests, and with forests come a lot of blocked shots. So these trees are actually going to be not only be providing hidden troops, but it's also going to be blocking a lot of those volleys. So you guys are going to see a lot of melee engagements. The map also has a big hill at the start, so it greatly increases at the start, and then it begins to plateau and flatten out, and you see it's kind of nice flat plain. So very interesting map design, and the battle is about to commence. You can see I'm still pushing up some troops here on the right flank, but I'm mainly going to be in control of the troops on the far left flank. So let's go over my army comp real quick, and we will talk about the enemy's army comps as well. So starting on the left flank, we have 3 Swiss foot, it looks like a Polish Legion, and then a Fusilier. Behind that, we have another Fusilier unit, and then finally we have the Old Guard. So I'm going to try and keep my elite troops in the backs as reserves, and prevent any lines from, breaking through. As for our artilleryman, he's brought some 6-pound horse artillery, so that means these guys are going to be able to run up and get to their positions very, very quickly. We also have some 6-inch howitzers, so they're going to be bringing the main firepower. And then finally, we have the Grand Battery. So I believe in total 9 artillery units, but just look at this beauty. 36 guys, 8 cannons. I mean, just look at that cannon. Very, very nice design. I love the glow to it as it reflects in the sunlight. Moving on, we have our other line infantry units. These are going to be in the center, and I put these guys here on purpose just to make sure I can have a firm hold on the center section of the lines. So Old Guard actually on the front line, 18th Regiment on the front line, and then a lot of Fusiliers. As for on the right flank, my ally is going to be mainly in command of this section, and yes, I still do have a couple units here just to make sure we have a solid ground wherever we are on the battlefield. So you see he's bringing a lot of Fusiliers, Swiss foot, just all the basic line infantry units from France, or for France. And then finally, cavalry, we have a lot of Chasseurs Cheval and Lancers, mainly Lancers, so we can get in on those cav engagements and hopefully win them. Very large variety. We even have the Carabiners in the center force. These guys are probably the best cav force France has to offer. And then we have a lot of generals. But anyways, the battle is about to commence. We are about to get started. So let me fast forward there. Actually, let's take a look at the enemy forces. So enemy bringing a lot of troops as well. He's got the 6-pound horse artillery, light foot, a lot of foot as the main line force. Now, when Britain, one huge thing actually that Britain struggles in is cavalry. Now, we know that the French cav is much more superior to cavalry, so we should be fine in terms of the cav engagements. But as for the line engagements, it's not going to be that way. The British troops have very solid line infantry, so it's definitely going to be a good competition for the French lines. As for artillery, he's brought a lot of 6-pound horse artillery, but he's also brought some 5-inch howitzers. So they do have a little bit less range than the 6-inch howitzers for the French, but they do seem to have a faster reload speed just because they are lifting less weight. So the battle has started. All the armies are pushing up now, up the hill. We did get a little bit of a head start at the front, but my main goal for my frontal troops is to use my militia as meat shield. So I have 3 units of militia here, one on the right, center, and left flank, and their sole purpose is to soak up any bullets. And that is exactly what they're going to be doing. You see they're going to be pushing up their light foot here, and it looks like this engagement is about to be kicking off. So quite a big delay in terms of starting, but it just takes time due to how much we have to run at the start of the battle. So our artillery is going to start getting unlimbered here. And I believe over here, this artillery piece right here is actually going to be getting the first volleys off. Now, this replay is very long, so I suggest you guys grab some popcorn and a drink and just enjoy the show, because it is definitely very, very epic. And it looks like we have one lone old guard guy just running along, minding his own business. He's finally coming back to his unit. One-man army right there. But anyways, Lightfoot are pushing up. I noticed that, so I'm going to try and get my militia in position. And once they do start coming under fire, I'm going to be pushing up my line infantry. Taking a look over here, though. Actually, excuse me, the first shots were fired over here, but they actually killed their own guy here. And the first casualty was a friendly fire, so that was not good. But anyways, the true line engagement has begun. Militia under fire by the Lightfoot. I'm going to try and get some returning volleys. Officer is down, and it is up to his men to try and complete this task. So these guys are the grunts of the army, but they are desperately needed because they're going to be bullet soaking for me, like I said. So now my line infantry is being pushed up. See, Fusiliers trying to get in range right now, but I'm really wishing my ally would push up his lights, and that is exactly what he's doing here. Chasseurs up against Lightfoot. It's going to be a very good engagement. Not only that, but we have artillery blasting them too, so things are looking pretty solid for us at the moment. I also have some more line infantry in the forest. It looks like he's going to be pushing up more Lightfoot, as well as some fencibles, and they're going to be engaging my Fusiliers. I'm going to get some good return volleys in. And there goes the artillery. So, French artillery now starting to blast the British to pieces, targeting anything that moves. And it's going to be a very epic showdown with artillery. You see the 9-pound foot artillery now about to be unlimbered, and they are going to respond to our artillery. But you see, these old guard here are just devastating these Lightfoot. Just loss after loss here, and their morale is dropping drastically. Only down to 63 men though, and their morale is absolute garbage. So, it comes to show how, you know, how much of an impact these old guard can truly cause. And this unit is just about to break here. But they have another Lightfoot being pushed in now. So I'm going to be charging in my militia, seeing that they're not such great shots, so going to bet my luck that they can do a little bit better in melee. Now over here, a very, very good move here by the British. So they're going to be trying to charge in militia here into my Fusiliers, but I do notice they have a cavalry unit out here, and what they're trying to do is charge into me and not allow me to form square, and that's going to prevent me from, you know, defending myself against this cavalry. So I barely got into square formation. And that really, really helps me out. So here comes the King's German Legion Light Dragoons. We are targeting them with our artillery right now, but they're getting very close to our artillery piece, which is right over here. I'm actually shifting over some line infantry just to make sure these guys do not make it to our lines. But here they come. And we need to break them, so got the Fusiliers here trying to shoot them. Actually do form square, but he's going to try and rush the artillery. But will he make it out? Oh, knocking him off his horse. What a good shot. And he did end up breaking that Light Dragoon unit. And we did also bring in the Empress Dragoons, but they were not needed, so they're going to be retreating back to their reserve position. Over here, we have some foot engaging some Chasseurs. Very good engagement. But seeing that these Chasseurs are overwhelming them, they're going to retreat. Just so much friendly fire from the artillery. It's actually really scary to see that now, how much friendly fire there actually was during this battle. So I am really in a bad position in the forest right now. He has a lot of lights, but over here, very good charge by the Emperor's Dragoons, actually charging into the light infantry. Now, I was telling my Cav guy, to try and charge their artillery, because if we can get their artillery, it's really going to hurt them in terms of firepower. So, Emperor's Dragoons trying their best to get over there, but they're definitely taking a lot of losses as they do come charging across the field. But luckily, one of the Cav units do make it to the artillery and actually make them fixed artillery, so they are immobilized now and cannot move. So these 3 Cav guys are just really doing a good job, and it looks like we're about to get another artillery piece into fixed position, and there that goes. So excellent Cav charge, even though we weren't able to break any units. Immobilizing those artillery pieces is really helpful for us. Over here on this flank though, artillery engagement still occurring, and then finally on the far left flank, we're about to have another skirmish engagement. You can see the French are a little bit outnumbered here, I believe 2 to 4, so they are definitely up against some serious odds, but that does not mean they're going to do a lot of damage. And it looks like the British are going to get the first volleys off. We did drop about 12 guys to where they've dropped about 18. Over here, I'm pushing a little bit too hard right now. You see only 2 units in this forest up against a ton of British guys. And one mistake I did make during this battle was just overcommitting troops with little troops to be pushed up. So that is a huge mistake I'm making right now, and it's costing not only me but my team huge problems in the center. So we're going to have to rely on our artillery to do us justice in defeating the British. Taking a look on the right flank though, huge push here. Actually a very interesting move. Going to be pushing up my militia first, making sure they can soak up the bullets like I said during the center engagement. And this is going to allow my ally to push up on the flank with very light resistance, just because all these lines are focused on this militia. And you know, might as well get some good shots in with the militia. And they actually did a really, you know, good job at cleaning that unit up, actually dropping about 16 guys. So very proud of that militia unit. Not only bullet soaking, but actually killing some guys. So the push is really being in full force now, put into full force. And very even numbers of units here, but we do have a Cav advantage here with the Chasseurs and Lancers up against only artillery. So the British player really needs to send over some cavalry to support this flank, just because we have much more mobility than he does. But the British lines are very strong still. You can see they do have their own set of reserves here. Not to mention we have more militia coming in and Swiss foot. So push is really coming in now. Just taking a look at the map, how much we are actually trying to flank them. But it's costing us a lot of lives as we try to get in range or in position. And my militia's trying their best right now, but they cannot bullet soak for the entire line. So I'm going to have to really make good decisions on where I should locate these guys. Looks like we have a melee charge here by the Fusiliers. But actually they're going to be shooting their guys instead, but they are off fire at will. Why are they off fire at will? That is not good. But here goes the Lancers, and now they're starting to fire. So good charge into those foot, and those Lancers are actually going to be running down the lines of the British troops, making sure they cannot fire. So very good job by the British player, or French player, excuse me. But this attack is not working out too well. We are starting to lose a couple units here, and the British cavalry has arrived, so we have lost that mobility edge that we once had. Lancers about to die out, getting low in numbers, and trying to get into the artillery pieces. Artillerymen actually charging from their artillery and going right into those Lancers. Very daring move there. Another artillery piece immobilized. So what seemed to be a good attack by the French is actually starting to turn out to be a disaster. They are actually outnumbering us now on the flank, and as we try to retreat, we are taking heavy losses. So not good there. We're going to try and reform our lines, but we have taken a lot of losses in this push. But the push is still not over. You can see in the center somewhat we are still engaging. Excuse me. So we have some militia up against some foot, and then Swiss foot and Fusiliers up against some foot as well. Artillery being a huge issue for us right now. This old guard unit was very healthy, but over time that artillery has just been pounding this unit to pieces and draining their numbers. Back on the left flank, we have a light skirmish engagement here between some Voltigeurs and Fencibles and foot. I did not notice this at the time, so I should have been pushing up my lines a little bit more and getting them into combat. So it's going to force these Voltigeurs to be on their own, and you see they are not in light formation, so they're going to be shot from both sides, friendly and foes, and that is really going to hurt their morale and numbers. Over here, don't know what this artillery piece is doing. Looks like they're going to try and get canister volleys in, but they are very close to the British lines, and an extremely risky move here, but we will see if they can get canister in, turning their cannons around. Hopefully they don't shoot that hill over there, focus their artillery to the left, but it seems like they will, and they're actually getting shot by the foot. It seems like a waste of a unit here, so that is not beneficial to us. As for on the right flank, like I said, we are still getting overrun by the British now, and it looks like they're going to be launching a counterattack here. Their numbers are still fairly healthy, but taking a look at the map, you can see the French are on a full retreat right now, back to where they started, and the British did an excellent job at repelling our attack. Same as over here, we're forced to retreat and taking heavy losses as we run back. Let's take a look over here. So like I said, horse artillery not doing good, actually getting charged by the dragoons. So not good at all, and that's going to force me into square, and this is going to allow the British lines to get even more shots off. So it looks like we're losing this engagement on this flank as well. So the British are just overwhelming us, not only with numbers but also skill. They're definitely making better decisions with their troop movements than what we are doing at the moment. We have some French cavalry now being pushed up, and they're going to be in the reserves, making sure everything goes smoothly and the lines do hold. But like I said, back on the right flank, still in a big retreat. We are starting to form our battle lines once again, but this time with very low numbers, and a very, very big flank is exposed. But luckily, we still have cavalry on this side to still keep that mobility edge. As for in the center, it's good engagement here. Fusiliers up against foot, taking similar losses. Here we go, another British cav unit being shifted over to support the side of the battle. It is also very beneficial to claim these fours. Like I said, they're going to be blocking a lot of the bullets, and it's going to act kind of like a sandbag and a layer of protection for those British troops. So my old guard are going to be pushed through the forest to try and counter these foot on the opposite end. And look at that. Enemy general is killed. We actually managed to get one of the French units behind enemy lines and end up killing a French or British general, and that was actually the Duke of Wellington. So that significantly destroyed the morale of some British troops there, especially losing the best general the British have to offer. But the Lifeguards are going to redeem the Duke of Wellington and just smash right into those Lancers and pretty much instantly breaking them. So that was a good move. And then looking back at the center, engagement is still continuing. On the right flank though, it's pretty much a stalemate. Not too sure why the British player is holding off right here. He does have the light advantage, and that is pretty much all you need to start an engagement, so don't know why he's holding off there. But on the far left flank, the British are just all attack right now. They're trying to get into combat and force us back even further, and our lines are getting very, very thin. Taking a look at the French perspective, We even have some militia running across no man's land. Will he make it out despite all the volleys being blasted at him? And it looks like one of our own generals has died by a stray cannonball looking at the picture up there, and it looks like he does escape. But a good charge here by the foot. Let's take a look at whose general is dead. I mean, what a snipe by the artillery all the way out here. And managing to strike 3 of the guys, including the general. So, incredible volley. I don't know if that was by accident. I really don't know. But it knocked them off their horses. It looks like the horses are running off. Cannot find them though. So big mess up there. I do believe it was just a stray volley, a stroke of luck that helped the British out there. Fusiliers still engaging in the center. Let's take a look at the mini-map and kind of look at what is going on. So main battle points or engagements are on the center left and then the far right. So back to the far right flank. French still forced back to retreat even further. And that is all because we are outnumbered. Just one by one, we are just getting routed and losing a ton of troops. And pretty much pushed back to where we started, but with much less units. So this is a huge turning point in the battle for the British right now. Actually getting quite the edge on men here. Now, we were in voice chat at the moment, or during the time of this game, and we were screaming at the cav guy to pull back his cavalry because they're afoot here about to blast him to pieces. So he was trying his best to locate them, but sadly they're about to get slaughtered by some foot guards. And let's check out these guys' accuracy. So 37 men. Devastating volley, and they are now down to 20 men actually. So just like that, that unit is pretty much out of the battle, losing over half of its health. So a little bit of a micro mistake there. Got a charge here by the foot into the Fusiliers. Fusiliers are going to try and hold off here. Another cavalry push here. And once again, another miss micro, unable to form square, and the Royal Scots Grey going to be able to charge into the Swiss foot and I believe break those guys. So British are doing an excellent job on just breaking and continuing to push down our lines. We are unable to respond just because we are lacking a lot of troops now. And we have another cavalry clash over here. Lancers up against some Dragoons and the Royal Scots Grey. Very classic icon for the British during this time period. And even the Lancers cannot hold off against this enormous cav push. Looks like the general staff of one's general is going to be retreating back to safety, seeing that his flank is collapsing and he can no longer hold with his men. So he's going to fall back, but we still have the old guard over here, and we will see what they can do. Going to be forming square as the last maneuver, just because they are surrounded pretty much on all sides now. Same as over here with the Fusiliers, seeing the cav forces being pushed in. It's going to force them to form square. So with the far right flank very weak, as well as the central right flank very weak, it's going to allow the British to make a lot of really good moves on us, especially when we are low on numbers. And still, this artillery is just being such a nuisance for us in depleting our troops. So we're going to set up a second line of defense. We know that our right flank is pretty much no longer there, so might as well just reform rather than try to save what is there. So these old guard are going to fight to the bitter end right now, getting slaughtered as they try to fall back, but they're going to hold their position here, stay in square formation until the very, very end. So dying like heroes for their country. Very hard to see that when you don't have anyone to support that unit. And then the British cavalry is just doing a great job of keeping us off guard and just doing a lot of devastation. We should have some canister over here. I wonder why these guys are shooting canister. Might have been a cavalry charge here. So over here, we actually have some canister going, and this artillery piece is pretty much at the furthest end point of our flank. The rest of these units over here are just they're dead. There's nothing we can do to save these guys. Foot against old guard, actually breaking the foot. As for the center, silence is over here, but on the right flank, another push, this time by some light foot. They're going to be getting in on the action as well. You can see some buildings have been destroyed due to the artillery. So a lot of destruction. Fusiliers, actually over here on the right flank. Old guard trying to retreat with what men they have left, only 24 though. 23, and they do end up breaking. So Fusiliers, seeing that, are going to retreat, and this artillery is going to still shooting canister, actually getting some pretty good shots in, despite how hard it is to hit these guys. Looks like they're getting some good kills there. And then we have some more Fusiliers over here trying to protect the artillery from any melee engagements. So, things have come to standstill, it seems, in the center, but here we go, another big cavalry push, this time with some horse guards and life guards. And it looks like they're going for the artillery, so we will see if these guys can defend themselves. Artillery definitely not helping them out. There goes the British cav running across the battlefield. We will see if we can manage to canister them, but here comes the foot. We will see if these guys can shoot them. Will they turn their cannons? Yes, they will. Let's take a look. Will he take out the officer? Oh, very good volley. But the foot are actually going to snipe the artillery, and there they go. So artillery is now gone from the battlefield on this right flank. Fusiliers are going to be engaging some more foot. But like I said, they have a lot of troops still here, and they're going to start to outflank us. And once again, going to have to draw back our lines even more now. Things are getting very desperate, so we're going to take a look to the left flank now. Seeing that we are getting very desperate on the right flank, we know we must win the left flank in order to try and even things up. So very shortly, we're going to start an attack, and it should commence, yeah, right about now. So our idea was to try and push up the chasseurs, use them kind of like a militia unit and as a meat shield, and I'm going to commit my line of infantry, and we're going to start once again another engagement. So here comes the chasseurs. They're going to continue to be pushed up, as well as some cavalry. So very coordinated attack by all our allies here, and line infantry is still being pushed up, but taking a lot of stray volleys as they rush across the fields. Chasseurs barely hanging on. Morale is very, very bad, but I believe they will hold on for a little bit longer. But here comes the cavalry. And an excellent charge from the cavalry straight into these lights. Same as over here, Polish Legion getting some really good volleys in. We have the Highland Foot here, and they're going to counter us in terms of cavalry. So now my line of infantry is going to be pushed up, and they're going to be engaging this big force on the flank. I also have my old guard over here. They're going to try and shoot at these foot. So a very coordinated attack by the French, or by us, and we will see if we are able to do any damage and hopefully win this flank for the French. But these Lightfoot are just pounding us still. Going to get some point blank volleys in. Over here, I barely form square with my line. They do send those Dragoon Guards flying, but I did take some pretty heavy losses from forming square at such a late time, and it's actually going to be running down my line. So with that cav charge, we did lose a lot of cavalry, and it looks like the British are going to be countering us over here. So once again, not looking good for us. Highland Foot are able to just unleash volley after volley. Meanwhile, we are stuck in square formation. I'm trying to get them out, but we are breaking. So that attack was a complete failure. And it looks like the French are we were just unable to coordinate successful attacks. And the British are just going to be able to defend properly, and then respond, and with high numbers. So that attack was a failure. We are going to begin to retreat, just like on the left flank. Pretty much exactly what happened here. We were just unable to penetrate the British lines. They have just been doing such a good job at controlling their side of the battle and preventing any damage from occurring there. And this poor Swissfoot is in some trouble right now. And they do form a square, but like I said, forming square is going to allow these Lightfoot or Highland Foot to get some really good volleys off with no return volleys from the Swissfoot. Just charging down my lines, and just like that, the left flank is starting to collapse as well. Meanwhile, on the far right flank, things are not looking good. We're trying to hold this center right section. We have the Grand Battery trying to fire his canister, but they're getting shot up, and here comes another cavalry unit. What is this guy doing? What's... Oh, he is flying across the battlefield. Where is he going? Good lord. Will he kill anyone? No, he won't. What was that about? That guy was going a good 30 to 40 miles an hour. That was insane. Got a marathon runner. Anyways, our artillery, or at least our howitzers, are very active now. They all have earned themselves chevrons, and that is because since the troops are getting closer, their accuracy is going to increase. But we will see if these guys can turn the tides of this engagement. We need some strokes of luck now, just because pretty much all over now we are beginning to get outnumbered. Once we lose the flanks, it's causing us to lose a lot of units, and as a result, just getting outnumbered. And now in the center, the British are starting to overwhelm. So overall, the tide is definitely turning for the worst. But for some odd reason, we do have the balance of power advantage here. The French cavalry kind of in a tough situation, don't really know where to go at this point. So they're going to be falling back even further now. And the French flank is once again collapsing even more. This time it is actually at the center of the battlefield that their flank is ending on, as well as over here. We're trying our best to hold out. We have Old Guard, 6th Regiment, and Young Guard going up against the 42nd and the 88th Foot, so very good clash of elite troops here. But our troops just unsuccessful to break any lines, and this poor Swissfoot unit going up against a very healthy Highland Foot is going to break. And at this point I'm like, okay, I need to charge my general and hopefully get some good kills in and break a couple units, but could not even do that. And actually about to lose the general's unit. We will see if he makes it out alive. Here he is right here. And it looks like he will retreat to safety. Actually, still taking shots, so we will see if he makes it out or not. Him and his two buddies. And it looks like they do. So he's going to be leaving his own men on his own now. British cavalry coming in to finish us off. We have lost the howitzers now. They have gotten overrun over here by the British horse guards. And it is pretty obvious as to how this battle is going to end. But that does not mean we are not going to still put up a very, very big fight. Fusiliers of line in square formation. Pretty much every unit is in square formation, trying to prevent this cavalry from doing any more harm. We even have our generals in melee combat trying to break these lifeguards. But they are ruthless and are just slaughtering our lines. And while this is all going on, British lines are going to continue to be pushed up, and there goes another general. So 2 of the French generals are dead, 1 has routed, and we only have 1 left on the battlefield. So that is going to significantly deteriorate the morale of the French. Not to mention these lines that are outflanking our guys are going to do a lot of damage. And this is the Coldstream. You're getting some really good shots off too. Over here in the center, morale and numbers are getting to us. And the Old Guard are very, very, very low on troops. And Yep, he said it best. The battle is over. The French have been defeated. We still have a 6-inch howitzer here, and they're going to try and get some final shots off at rapid fire pace. We'll see if this gets anyone. Yes, good volleys, good volleys. But sadly, it is not enough to prevent this French or British attack. And the artillery itself is going to be punished for shooting canister at the foot. And they do break. So at this point, we only control these 4 units here on the battlefield. The rest of the troops have broke. And just what a slaughter. A lot of the numbers, though, pretty low. I mean, there still are a lot of troops that are very healthy. But I think it was somewhat of a close matchup, especially at the start of the battle. Taking out that artillery, it seemed like we had the advantage at the start. But over time, we just lost that edge. Good charge here by the Horse Guards into the back of the Fusiliers. And that is going to finish that unit off. So one by one, these units are going to start crumbling. Life Guards still active and just destroying our morale. Will we break the Horse Guards or Life Guards? Do not think so. There goes the Fusiliers. There goes another Fusilier unit, and the Young Guards and the General Staff. Only General still alive. Fighting on to the very end. This is him right here. Will he make it out? Will he make it out? We will see. Oh, it looks like he was saved by the bell. And looks like he's probably going to die, but at that point in time he was still alive, so they did not count him dead. So that is the battle. Taking a look at the stats, I did absolutely horrible. I think my biggest issue there was pushing up and committing too many troops at one point without any other support of cavalry or lights. I think engaging lights against line is not the best of ideas, so I think that's where I screwed up the most. But overall, I think we did a really good job as a team, especially in the live chat. We were just constantly talking about what we were going to do, and we definitely did a good job at starting the assaults, but very poor job at actually doing a lot of damage in those assaults. So taking a look at the kills, Dutchman almost 1,000 kills, DJ 740, used the artillerymen, so makes sense. And then G-Man with the cavalry with only 400 kills, and that's to be expected. Just because of your cavalry, you're really not not meant to get a lot of kills, but more so of breaking through those lines and just keeping people into square formation. As for our opponents, Proteus Valerius on top, or second to top with 1,300 kills. TJ Ghost with 1,600 kills. Excuse me, 600 kills. Natter 500, and the Mighty Me with 1,600 on top. Taking a look at the unit statistics, Old Guard. Man, these are some sad stats. No one able to break 100. That is absolutely pathetic. Just taking so many losses. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this first battle of Sub-Commanders. If you have liked the video, let me know if I should make another one with some new factions. They are a lot of fun to make. And just let me know if you want to see more of this. I know they are pretty long battles, but they are definitely entertaining. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.